Hey everyone, I'm back after a break. I'd been going about 12, 14 weeks non-stop, and I was frazzled and I needed a break. I needed to do some gardening as well, so I thought I'd have a break for a week, recharge, and do my chores, my gardening, if you know what I mean. So what's happened in the meantime? Well, this is Jamal Khashoggi, or a picture of him, and he is missing. He's a Saudi Arabian journalist who walked into the Saudi Arabia embassy in Turkey, and he's disappeared. Now, this is somebody who has been critical of the Saudi regime, especially in the last year with bin Salman doing his, lovey-dovey tour of the world, saying, "Oh, aren't we lovely reformers? We're even letting women drive now." And Khashoggi is the sort of person who will say, "Well, you're still chopping off heads," that sort of thing. He's written for the Washington Post. This is a quite well-known journalist. And Saudi Arabia, allegedly, have got him, or either captured him or assassinated him, one of the two. There's stories in the Washington Post I've seen that allege that one of the 15 assassins, or the 15 of this hit squad, this Saudi Arabian hit squad that went to get Khashoggi, I think he was only in the embassy to try and get a visa for a marriage license or something like that. So he was taken, and the Washington Post have reported that one of these people that captured him actually had some sort of bone saw with him to chop the body up. I don't know how much weight there is behind that. There are other reports I've seen on the Real News with Aaron Matty where he's interviewing somebody who said that there's actually a video of the assassination that was filmed by his watch. Now, I haven't seen it, so I don't know whether this is something that is true or not. But what I can say is this is a big, huge deal. It's as simple as that. This is an ally to the UK. It's an ally to the US. This is a huge deal. You can't just go around bumping off journalists. Well, this is what Trump said about it. This is yesterday. He said there's been a couple of statements. This is what he said yesterday.
Do you think he's dead, Mr.
I don't want to say that. I hope he's not. I hope he's
What will the
not.
Saudi government respond to that?
Well, I have to find out who did it. But people saw him go in, but they didn't see him come out, as they understand it. And we're going to take a very serious look at it. It's a terrible thing.
Have you spoken to the Saudis?
I'd rather not say, but the answer is yes.
I'd rather not say, but the answer is yes. So they're not, going nuts over anything. There's no reaction. Everything's very calm, and it's all we're going to go through the process and find out exactly what's happened here. And obviously, in my opinion, what they're going to do is sweep it all under the rug. Now, why are they going to do that? Well, here's why. Let me let Wolf Blitzer and Rand Paul explain it to you. This is Rand Paul who, this is going back a few months now to when, I think this was after Saudi Arabia had bombed that bus full of children in Yemen. And he called Rand Paul, who is he is a moderate Republican. Not. I heard the New York Times called Nikki Haley a moderate Republican the other day. It was ridiculous. This is what he said, and his response was to the US arming Saudi Arabia and then bombing children. He thinks that we need to stop it. He might be a little bit quiet, but just listen to Wolf Blitzer's response when Rand finishes talking.
Into law, he would presumably veto it.
At the very least, it begins the debate of whether or not we should be at war. We are refueling the Saudi bombers, so we are essentially part of the bombing campaign. We're helping them choose targets, and we are refueling the Saudi bombers that are dropping the bombs. It is said that thousands of civilians have died in Yemen because of this. Yes, we need to have a debate over this, and I don't know what the president will do, but he ought to come to Congress and ask for permission. We've given him no authority to get involved in the civil war in Yemen, and we have to ask the bigger question, is this making it better or worse? Are there more refugees or less?
So he's doing excellent work there, Rand Paul. He's one of my favourite Republicans, and he's really laying out the reasons why the US and by extension the UK, my country, shouldn't be arming Saudi Arabia. Just listen to what Wolf Blitzer's response is.
More chaos or less chaos with Saudi Arabia bombing into Yemen. So yeah, it's a debate we ought to have, and no president should unilaterally have this authority without the approval of Congress.
So for you, this is a moral issue because you know there's a lot of jobs at stake. Certainly, if a lot of these defense contractors stop selling warplanes, other sophisticated equipment to Saudi Arabia, there's going to be a significant loss of jobs and revenue here in the United States. That's secondary from your standpoint.
That's secondary from your standpoint. So morals, they according to Wolf Blitzer, morals, it's like, you know, that comes ahead of jobs and revenue. That's the mentality. It's the mentality in the media. Jobs and revenue. That's what they care about. They care about these weapons contracts. That's what they care about. This is why nothing is going to happen with regards to Saudi Arabia. It looks like killing this journalist. Nothing is going to happen. And what I want to end this video on, it's going to be a short video, is this. Can you imagine if it was Russia? Can you imagine if Russia did that? It's alleged that they've done it before, but nothing has been as clear-cut with regards to information as this. You know, the last journalist Russia had allegedly shot miraculously was found alive the next day, and it was all a hoax. Can you imagine what the response would have been if it was Russia? Within 24 hours, with the Skripals, Theresa May was blaming Russia for it. Just within a few days, over 200 diplomats worldwide, Russian diplomats were ejected, and obviously Russians ejected other diplomats as well. Over 100 Russians and over 100 other diplomats from other countries were ejected within days of that alleged attack, of which I've covered extensively, of which there's no evidence that Russia were behind it. And then there were more sanctions put out. I think there's been 2 rounds of sanctions because of that so far, and a 3rd round in the works. Because Putin allegedly, although there was no reason for him to do that I can see, killed somebody who he had in prison back in 2010 and could have off quite easily with very little noise being made. Can you imagine what would happen if Russia had done this and there was the weight of evidence that Russia had done this and not Saudi Arabia? Imagine if we would be on the verge of World War III, is the truth. Diplomats would be ejected all over, the situation in the Middle East would be getting worse, you can guarantee it. But because it's Saudi Arabia, and there's billions of dollars in weapons contracts and jobs at stake, it will carry on. Just murdering journalists. Like I say, that's if they have, but it certainly looks like they have. There's a lot of evidence to say that Saudi Arabia have done this. We have got to stop arming them. We have got to stop participating in these proxy wars in the Middle East. We've got to stop participating. We've got to stop participating in these coup attempts in the Middle East. And we've certainly got to stop supporting Saudi Arabia, who go around assassinating journalists and chopping people's heads off. It's got to stop, and it's got to stop now. If you like this video and you want to see more, please subscribe and click the bell below. Independent voices like mine are being censored on YouTube, so please comment and like and share. That really does help the channel out. And if you can, support me on Patreon. I cannot do this without your help. You can support me for as little as $1 a month, and every dollar helps. Thanks very much for all your support. Really do appreciate it. Till next time, peace and take care.